Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on New York public schools who ask parents to reflect on their whiteness. This is the East Side Community High School principal Mark Fetterman. He sent a survey reportedly to white parents asking them to identify their level of whiteness. I showed you this chart yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, it's got 8 different things, and the Lotus Eaters just did a breakdown of this, and I have to comment. I mean, this is just, it's nuts. It's absolutely insane. You're essentially asking a race of people to, we assume you're very bad. So we just want to know how bad you are. I mean, you only have to replace the color of white with any other color in terms of race, and you would be thrown out on your ear. This principle is, I'll just say it, I think he's promoting racism. This is total racist nonsense, in my view. So here are the levels of whiteness. White supremacist. Clearly marked white society that preserves names and values white superiority. Obviously, everybody's against that. The idea that this principle is suddenly, oh my God, they're everywhere, every corner, every rock. It's ridiculous. But then it almost immediately gets weird. The next level is white voyeurism. The definition: wouldn't challenge a white supremacist, desires non-whiteness because it's interesting, pleasurable, seeks to control the consumption and appropriation of non-whiteness, fascination with culture, example, consuming black culture without the burden of blackness. That's insane. That he believes this should mean that he should take a leave from his job, I believe, and get therapy. It's an obsession with race. An obsession and a breakdown that makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Desires non-whiteness. What is that? What does that even mean? People don't think that way. Well, these people think that way because they are racist. It's like this, what do they call it? The moral panic of racism, has consumed these people to the point at which they've made up this ridiculous nonsense that they just throw it up in the air like, well, here are the 8 major white identities. I've discovered them. No, you haven't. This isn't science. This is just made up BS. The next level, white privilege. Of course, you've heard about that. May critique supremacy, but a deep investment in questions of fairness and / equality under normalization of whiteness and white rule, sworn goal of diversity. In other words, that's you, liberals. See, you don't even get to be, out of this. They're going after you. Oh, it's your white privilege. That's where you are. That's the best you can hope for. It's the absolute best you can hope for until you bow down to these people and do whatever they say. I would assume that this principle is somewhere right around there, and he'll never get out of it. He'll just be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm white. I'm so sorry. I mean, we used to make fun of these people. We used to laugh at them. Now we put them in positions of power. These are the people teaching your kids. It's starting in New York, but it's going to extend everywhere. So get to your school board meetings. Get to them. Make sure this doesn't happen. Fight them on it. Not physically. You know what I'm saying. Get in there. Say, no, this is ridiculous. You got to read up on this stuff. And I recommend watching the Lotus Eaters. It's a good way to explain it all. Or at least some of it. White benefit is level 4. Sympathetic to a set of issues, but only privately. Won't speak and act in solidarity publicly because benefiting through whiteness in public. Some POC are in this category as well. See? It doesn't matter if you even are white. You can be black and still be racist. You're still racist if you're black. In other words, this is just an avenue to go after Trump supporters who, decided, well, I'm black, but I'm going to vote Republican for a change because I want to try something different. This is a way to get it, though. That's all it is. It's nonsense. I would lose my damn mind if I got this in the mail. My kid brought this home. I would take my kid out of that school or demand that this principal be ousted. He is. These ideas are a cancer. You're going to have every kid in the school picking on other kids because of their race. Are you out of your mind? We were through most of this. You know, in the 90s, this was, you know, it was a joke. It was a joke to even talk about this kind of stuff. It was just like, racism? Who's a racist anymore? Now, they're bringing it all back. And you can thank the Democratic Party. You can thank Joe Biden, and you can thank the people who voted for him. Because you idiots, whoa, orange man bad. You couldn't see the forest from the trees. This is the sort of nonsense they're bringing because it divides people. And divided people are easier to control. So once they decide, well, you know, you can get on board this or you're a bigot, they can punish you for no reason. You know, just because you disagree with this, you're a bigot. Just because you disagree with this, now your kid's got to be harassed in school or get additional scrutiny, or you got to go in for meetings all the time. It's to grind people down. White Confessional, number 5. Some exposure of whiteness takes place, but as a way of being accountable to POC after seeking validation from POC. I don't even know what this means. I don't understand what that even means. I guess you mean these weak-willed people. There was one video online. There was this sort of black group on the streets, I think of New York, asking white people to kiss their feet, and some of them actually did it because they have, I guess, no self-esteem whatsoever, and they're so cowed by this. I mean, this is nuts. When I was a kid, you know, and this is like 70s and 80s, you were progressive because you were against this sort of racism. There were actual racists still running around. There weren't many. They were on their way out, but you were against this sort of stuff. And you were taught to be, essentially, don't discriminate against people because of their race. Now it's like, discriminate people because of their race. Oh, we picked a different race, so it's okay. White critical. And this is critical race theory, right? This is where they want you. Take on board critiques of whiteness and invest in exposing marking the white regime refuses to be complicit with the regime, whiteness speaking back to whiteness. It doesn't even make any sense. It's not even like a sentence. They're assuming you're consumed by this. And the sad thing is, if you go on Twitter, yeah, there are plenty of people who would understand this. They'd be like, oh, yeah. And they'd totally agree with it. They would rush to send their child to the school. Their 6-year-old kid, like, I have to deal with my whiteness? Yes, Billy, because you're a bigot. And if you don't get on board with this, you could go drop a level. I don't want to do that, Mom. What do I do? Confront your whiteness, Billy. Confront it. Level 7. And this is what he's striving for, apparently. And this is insane. Even if you're on board with this stuff, why would you use this word? White traitor. Level 7. White traitor. Actively refuses complicity, whatever that means. Names what's going on. Racism. Intention to subvert white authority and tell the truth at whatever cost. This isn't the truth. This is BS. Need them to dismantle institutions. See, right there, that's the French postmodernist creeping in. That's the cultural Marxism. Destroy everything. We'll rebuild it. So this principal thinks he's doing oh, yeah, I'm so woke and wonderful. This is going to be great. No, it's not going to be great until you're out of a job and the school system is in tatters. That's the eventual goal. You moron. You're an idiot for bringing this on. He doesn't even realize they're after him. he thinks, oh, well, we'll just go along with this. It'll be fine. No, this is just the step for these insane people to tear it all down until they're in charge. Once the Marxists are in charge, you won't have any power, so whatever you say won't even matter. I mean, according to this, what you say already doesn't matter, and you're helping it. You're helping the racism. You're helping the tearing down of institutions. And finally, the eventual goal, apparently, is level 8, white abolitionists. It sounds like Scientology in some respects, doesn't it? Changing institutions, dismantling whiteness, and not allowing whiteness to reassert itself. That sounds particularly scary. That sounds like, a complete. You ever see these topsy-turvy movies where, it takes place in a racist America, only the white people are the white, or the black people, and the black people are the white people? Yeah, it sounds like that. Which I guess some people, that's a dream to some people. But really, at the end of the day, this is all about cultural Marxism, and it's all about China funding these idiots. Really, it's China. In a deep background, it's China. Because once the New York school system falls to pieces and people are running around going, that's when China will just roll in. They'll just wait until the culture is so dysfunctional. We'll be at the point where we'll be enslaving our own people. Then the Chinese just come in and buy everybody. And the cultural Marxists will be, yeah, you guys are the true Marxists. We should have been listening to you from the beginning. That's the eventual goal. For some people. They don't really see it all. It's mostly a bunch of useful idiots. I would say that this principal is definitely a useful idiot. Absolutely. he, in my view, has no concept of what he's promoting here. He doesn't get it at all. And the curriculum is written by Barner Hess, an associate professor of African American Studies at Northwest University in Illinois. He claims, quote, there is a regime of whiteness and there are action-oriented white identities. People who identify with whiteness are one of these, Hess writes in the above 8 points. It's about time we build an ethnography of whiteness, since white people have been the ones writing about and governing others, capital O, Hess adds. He sounds like a total radical. Why would you want children espousing this nonsense? It's because he probably went to college and read about this and thought, oh, it's so good. I'm such a good person. I'm such a good person. I'm white, so I'm not really that good. I've dealt with my whiteness, and I'm going to virtue signal a whole school and fix everything. The arrogance of these people. It's just, someone, please go to the school board and stop this. Legally, politely. Gather the parents around and have this guy removed. Have him removed. Have all this curriculum removed. Because this will only exacerbate racist problems. They were mostly gone. Mostly gone. Yeah, you're always going to have a little bit of that tension. But this is insanity. I had to speak on this. It's just nuts.